What if Hollywood's most glamorous women were hiding the darkest secrets? Behind the red carpets and flashing cameras were desires they couldn't control. At a time when society demanded modesty, these stars refused to behave. They didn't just fall in love. They burned through marriages, lovers, and reputations. You've heard of them as icons, but what you're about to hear will make you question everything you thought you knew. From secret affairs with presidents to tragic deaths no one saw coming. These stories are real. And the last one? It just might leave you speechless. These are the 25 Hollywood women whose hunger for love and lust changed the industry forever.
A certain level of despair, of pain, of love. At a certain point, there is only certain...
Number 25. Angelina Jolie. Angelina Jolie built a reputation as one of Hollywood's most intense and passionate stars. Her marriage to Billy Bob Thornton was wild and highly public. They wore vials of each other's blood and talked openly about their sex life. Her lovers described her as adventurous, even saying she was interested in using knives during foreplay. Angelina's bold behavior added to her mysterious image. Later, she focused on humanitarian work and raising her children. But her past still followed her. The stories about her fearless approach to love never really faded. She went from a rebel to a respected activist, but the public never forgot her dark, romantic side. Angelina always lived on her terms. Whether in love, on screen, or in war zones, she gave everything. Her life became a mix of danger and purpose. That combination made her one of the most fascinating women in Hollywood history.
Finest pictures I've ever seen. I saw the Magnificent Andersons again the other day, and it seemed to me to be by far one of the
Number
most
24. Vivien Lee. Vivien Lee was best known for playing Scarlett O'Hara, but her real life was full of pain and passion. She had powerful affairs with actors like Peter Finch, while still married to Laurence Olivier. These affairs led some to call her a nymphomaniac. Behind the rumors was a deeper truth. Vivien struggled with bipolar disorder, which made her emotions unstable. After a miscarriage in 1945, her mental health worsened. Her illness often led to risky behavior and emotional breakdowns. She was also believed to have contracted several sexually transmitted diseases, which hurt her health and reputation. But even through the chaos, Vivien stayed elegant and determined. She worked hard, gave powerful performances, and kept her dignity. She never let her illness or the scandal fully define her. Vivien's life was filled with love, heartbreak, and courage. She left behind a name that meant more than gossip. It meant greatness.
It's really beautiful that she had a troubled life, that she, disappeared in her 40s, kind of, and what else?
Number 23. Hedi Lamar. Hedi Lamar shocked the world in 1933 with her nude scenes in the film Ecstasy. Her beauty was unmatched, and her bold screen presence made her famous. But Hedi was more than a pretty face. She co-invented frequency-hopping technology, which helped create modern Wi-Fi. Still, people mostly saw her as a symbol of sex and scandal. She married 6 times, and each relationship was filled with drama. She was linked to big names like Howard Hughes and was known to attend wild Hollywood parties where sex and drugs were common. Her confident attitude toward sex challenged what was expected from women. Some called her a sex addict, but others saw her as free. Her brilliance was often overlooked because of her looks. Hedi lived boldly and refused to fit into the roles given to her. Her legacy combines beauty, genius, and a fearless heart that defied the rules of her time.
Man she actually was in love with. It sounds unbelievable, but we were going to do two ends.
Number 22. Ingrid Bergman. Ingrid Bergman's love affair with Italian director Roberto Rossellini shocked the world. She was already married, and when she had a child with him, the public exploded with anger. In post-war America, her actions were seen as sinful. The United States Senate even called her a perverted instrument of evil. It was one of the biggest scandals of the time. Ingrid had always seemed pure and perfect on screen, so this affair felt like a betrayal to many. Her career in America fell apart, but she didn't stop. She kept acting in Europe and slowly won back respect. Her talent and strength helped her rise again. Ingrid followed her heart, even when it cost her everything. Over time, people forgave her and remembered why they loved her in the first place. She proved that mistakes do not erase greatness. Ingrid's comeback made her one of the strongest stars in film history.
Or anyone your age, but I think the kids will kind of pick it up because it's fun.
Yeah. Now, there's one, though, that...
Number 21. Joan Blondelle. Joan Blondelle was known for playing sassy, street-smart women, and her real life was just as bold. She married 3 times, and each relationship made headlines. Joan refused to live by Hollywood's strict rules. She had affairs with powerful men and didn't care who judged her. While many actresses tried to appear sweet and quiet, Joan did the opposite. She was loud, funny, and full of life. Her charm made her popular, and her confidence set her apart. Joan believed women could be strong and sexy without losing respect. Her openness about love and desire shocked some people, but she never hid who she was. She proved that mistakes do not erase greatness. Ingrid's comeback made her one of the strongest stars in film history.
Thankment to you for the opportunity you gave me.
Number 20. Jean Harlow. Jean Harlow was Hollywood's first blonde bombshell, lighting up the screen in movies like Dinner at 8. But her real life was filled with sadness and mystery. She married Paul Byrne, a producer, but their marriage ended in tragedy when he was found dead with a gunshot wound just 2 months later. Rumors flew, especially because her perfume was found at the scene. Though the death was ruled a suicide, people whispered about foul play. Jean's career kept growing, but behind the scenes, she was in constant pain. Her platinum hair was beautiful, but the bleach and chemicals ruined her scalp. Worse still, she had kidney disease, which doctors failed to treat. She kept working until she suddenly died at just 26. Her mother controlled her money and made all her decisions. Jean played strong women on screen, but in real life, she had very little control over her own fate. Number 19. Marilyn Monroe. Marilyn Monroe became the biggest sex symbol in Hollywood, but her life was full of pain and insecurity. Born Norma Jean, she grew up in foster homes after her mother was sent to a mental hospital. Marilyn always wanted love and approval, which led to 3 marriages. Her marriage to Joe DiMaggio was full of jealousy. He hated the famous scene of her skirt blowing up in The 7-Year Itch. Even after they divorced, he stayed by her side. Her last marriage to Arthur Miller seemed smarter, but it didn't bring her peace. Marilyn read books, loved learning, and wanted to be more than a pretty face. But the pressure from fame and her personal pain pushed her into using pills. She couldn't sleep, couldn't focus, and struggled on set. In 1962, she died from an overdose at 36. Her death shocked the world and left behind endless questions. Number 18. Clara Bo. Clara Bo was the original it girl of Hollywood, full of charm and energy. She rose from poverty in Brooklyn, where her childhood was filled with abuse and fear. Her mother once tried to hurt her with a knife. That trauma followed her into adulthood. Clara craved love and chased it through fame and relationships. She became a star in silent films, but her off-screen life got just as much attention. Gossip magazine said she dated athletes, actors, and anyone exciting. Her fast-paced lifestyle made her the talk of the town. But when movies added sound, Clara's Brooklyn accent was mocked. Her confidence dropped. Then, her secretary leaked personal secrets to the press, making things worse. By 28, Clara had a breakdown and left Hollywood. She married and moved to a ranch, hoping for peace. Sadly, mental illness followed her. She spent her later years hidden from the world she once ruled. Number 17. Joan Collins. Joan Collins is best known for playing Alexis on Dynasty, but her real life had just as much drama. She was married 5 times and had a famous relationship with actor Warren Beatty. That romance ended because he cheated. But Joan's pain started earlier. At 17, she was drugged and assaulted by actor Maxwell Reed. Shockingly, she married him, but the marriage ended quickly. Joan kept chasing success. In Hollywood, she was often cast for her beauty and not her talent. She fought to prove herself. When she landed the role on Dynasty, she became a TV icon. But even then, she battled unfair pay. Her third husband, Ron Cass, had a drug addiction that drained her money. To recover, Joan wrote books and earned back her fortune. She also had quiet relationships with women, though she never talked about them publicly. Through it all, Joan stayed strong and never gave up. Number 16. Pamela Anderson. Pamela Anderson became a worldwide star from her role on Baywatch. But it wasn't just her red swimsuit that got people talking. Pamela was always open about her sex life. She said she had a high sex drive and was never afraid to talk about it. Her relationships with rock stars like Tommy Lee and Kid Rock were full of passion and drama. Even as she got older, Pamela kept her playful attitude about love and intimacy. She often joked about keeping things exciting in the bedroom. People saw her as a sex symbol, but she was also confident and carefree. She never apologized for being bold. While some judged her, others admired how she owned her image. Behind the headlines and the wild stories, Pamela showed that she was comfortable being herself. Her honesty, both in love and in life, made her one of Hollywood's most talked-about stars. Number 15. Mabel Normand was one of the silent film era's brightest stars, known for her comedy and charm. But her off-screen life was surrounded by scandal. She struggled with drug addiction, and the rumors of her wild behavior became well known in Hollywood. Mabel had many affairs with powerful men in the industry, which only added to her reputation. But 2 major events damaged her career forever. In 1922, she was pulled into the murder case of director William Desmond Taylor, who was said to be close to her. Then, in 1924, her chauffeur shot millionaire Cortland Dines using her gun. Even though she wasn't charged in either case, the damage was done. Fans couldn't separate the fun, lovable star from the drama in her personal life. Mabel's career faded, not because of her talent, but because of the dark shadows that followed her. Number 14. Elizabeth Taylor. Elizabeth Taylor was known for her violet eyes, beauty, and talent, but her love life always stole the spotlight. She was married 8 times to 7 different men, creating endless headlines. Still, there was more to her than gossip. After her friend Rock Hudson died of AIDS, Elizabeth became one of the first celebrities to speak out. She helped raise millions for AIDS research and broke the silence around the disease. Elizabeth also faced many health issues. She had scoliosis, went through more than 40 surgeries, and even lost her sight in later years. But nothing stopped her. Her romance with Richard Burton was one of the most famous love stories in Hollywood, filled with fights and passion. They even married twice. Elizabeth also launched a perfume line that made her rich. Her strength, kindness, and courage made her more than a star. She became a legend. Number 13. Lana Turner. Lana Turner was one of Hollywood's most glamorous stars. She became famous as the original Sweater Girl, but her life was full of pain and scandal. Her father was murdered when she was young, a loss that left her craving safety. Lana married 8 times and had many troubled relationships, especially with violent and controlling men. Her most infamous romance was with gangster Johnny Stompanato. What the public didn't know was that Lana was a victim of abuse. One night, during a fight, her teenage daughter Cheryl killed Stompanato to protect her. The media went wild, but Lana's fans stayed loyal. She kept acting and tried to give her daughter a normal life. Lana also clashed with studio bosses who wanted her to stay sweet and simple. She wanted deeper roles. Despite heartbreak, she stayed strong and kept pushing for respect in a town that often saw her as just another beauty. Number 12. Gene Tierney. Gene Tierney was known for her stunning looks and roles in classics like Laura. She seemed perfect on screen, but her real life was filled with pain. She married fashion designer Oleg Cassini, and while their love was strong, they had many ups and downs. Jean had several affairs, even during her marriage, always looking for affection and a sense of worth. She also battled bipolar disorder, which was misunderstood at the time. Her illness caused mood swings and made it hard for her to keep her life stable. While people didn't call it sex addiction, her deep need for love and the pattern of failed relationships showed she was struggling. Jean was not a headline chaser, but her personal pain shaped her choices. Her beauty and talent hid a fragile woman who fought for happiness in a world that judged her by looks alone. Number 11. Talula Bankhead. Talula Bankhead was a wild spirit who did not care what people thought. She had a deep, husky voice, bold style, and a love for the spotlight. Known for saying whatever was on her mind, Talula shocked people in Hollywood and Broadway. She was open about her bisexuality, calling herself ambisextress, and had flings with both men and women, including rumors about Billie Holiday and other stars. She didn't try to hide her lifestyle. She also cared about civil rights and women's rights, which was rare for someone from a powerful political family. Her father was Speaker of the House, but Talula spoke out when she disagreed with him. She was famous for her wild parties and crazy behavior, but she also fought addiction and feared growing old. Beneath the fun, she was generous and kind. She gave to charities, visited orphans, and cared deeply for her friends. Talula lived boldly. Number 10. Ava Gardner. Ava Gardner was more than just a screen beauty. She had deep insecurities and a strong, rebellious spirit. She married 3 of Hollywood's top men, Mickey Rooney, Artie Shaw, and Frank Sinatra. But her relationships were stormy and full of emotional chaos. Ava never really loved the Hollywood lifestyle. Even though she was famous, she preferred to live quietly in Spain, far from gossip and cameras. There, she found peace among bullfighters and flamenco dancers. Her love affair with Frank Sinatra was one of Hollywood's most talked-about romances. It was full of jealousy, fights, and raw passion. Even after they divorced, he helped her financially. Ava never believed she was a good actress and said her looks were more useful than her talent. Her choices worried the FBI, who watched her because of her political views and her romance with a Spanish bullfighter. Ava lived life her way, no matter the cost. Number 9. Marian Davies. Marian Davies was a talented actress and comedian, but her long relationship with newspaper tycoon William Randolph Hearst often overshadowed her career. While they were deeply connected, people gossiped about a rumored affair between Marian and Charlie Chaplin. These whispers made headlines and caused problems with Hearst. Though loyal to Hearst, Marian was known for being flirtatious with other powerful men in the industry. Some critics said she only gained fame through her relationship, calling her a gold digger. That unfair label stuck with her. Marian was open about her love life and the strange power dynamic with Hearst. This openness added to the mystery surrounding her. Many ignored her talent and focused only on the gossip. But those who looked deeper saw a woman fighting to be recognized on her own terms. In the end, she was much more than the scandal that followed her. Number 8. Mae West. Mae West had a bold screen image, but behind the scenes, she was all business. In a time when studios controlled actors, Mae was different. She wrote her own lines, picked her roles, and even had final say on her films. That kind of control was rare, especially for a woman in the 1930s. Though she made many jokes about love and men, her real romantic life was calm. She was in a long relationship with Paul Novak, who was 30 years younger. They stayed together for decades, but kept their love private. Mae also supported the LGBTQ+ community. She worked with drag performers and gave them space in her shows, defying the rules of her time. Mae wasn't just an actress. She made smart moves in real estate and stayed rich long after her fame faded. People remember her jokes and curves, but she was also a quiet revolutionary. Number 7. Louise Brooks. Louise Brooks didn't follow Hollywood's rules. She starred in silent films like Pandora's Box, but off-screen she was even more fearless. She was honest about her love life, which included both men and women. While other actresses tried to act modest, Louise was blunt. She didn't care what people thought. Though she didn't label herself, she admitted to having relationships with women. Her bold choices clashed with Hollywood's ideas about how women should behave. Louise often spoke out about the unfair way the industry treated women. She said studios wanted women to be sexy, but punished them for it. Her refusal to play nice cost her roles, but it also made her a lasting symbol of freedom. Louise didn't just break hearts. She broke barriers. She stood for honesty, independence, and the right to live without shame. Number 6. Zaza Gabbor. Zaza Gabbor was famous for her glamorous life, quick comebacks, and 9 marriages. But she wasn't just a joke or a gold digger. Born in Hungary and raised in high society, she escaped war-torn Europe and made a name for herself in Hollywood. Zaza knew how to keep the cameras on her. She built a brand long before it was popular. Her famous line about never hating a man enough to give back his diamonds said a lot about her humor and charm. Behind the scenes, she made smart money moves. She bought property when prices were low and stayed rich even when others struggled. Zaza also had deep friendships with stars like Elizabeth Taylor. In her later years, she faced serious health issues. After a car accident in 2002, she became more private. But even then, her sharp wit never left her. Number 5. Jayne Mansfield. Jayne Mansfield was more than a pretty face. She was seen as Marilyn Monroe's biggest rival and became a huge sex symbol during the 1950s and 1960s. With her curvy body and playful personality, she attracted massive public attention. But her private life was just as wild. She had 3 husbands and several affairs that often made more headlines than her movies. Jayne was heavily involved in the Playboy scene. She used her sex appeal to keep her name in the news. Her marriages failed, mostly because of her cheating. Friends said she had an incredibly strong sex drive. Some even claimed she had a fling with President John F. Kennedy. Many believed Jayne needed the attention that came with being desired. her sexual image became a key part of her identity. Sadly, she died in a car crash at 34, leaving behind a mix of beauty, scandal, and lost potential. Number 4. Rita Hworth. Rita Hworth was one of the biggest stars of the 1940s. Her role in Gilda made her unforgettable. But while she looked confident on screen, she was shy in real life. Rita was drawn to strong men, and this led to 5 marriages. She was married to Orson Welles and Prince Ali Khan. Behind the glamour, Rita was always disappointed in love. Most men wanted the sexy image she played, not the real woman behind it. She once said that men fell in love with Gilda, but woke up next to her. That line summed up her personal struggle. Rita also had problems with alcohol, which made her life even harder. Though she never said she had a sex addiction, the pattern of her relationships showed how deeply she longed for love and connection. Her story was one of fame and sadness, wrapped in the beauty of old Hollywood. Number 3. Barbara Lamar. Barbara Lamar was called the girl who was too beautiful. She was a silent film actress and screenwriter whose real life was more dramatic than any film she acted in. With stunning looks, she caught the eye of many. But she didn't care much for sleep or rest. Barbara partied all night, surrounded by new lovers all the time. She was married 5 times, although some of those marriages were never confirmed. Barbara chased love and excitement with the same energy she brought to her work. Her wild lifestyle may have led to her early death at 29. Officially, she died from tuberculosis and kidney problems. Still, many believe that drugs and endless partying were the real reason. In her time, there was no such thing as a sex addiction diagnosis, but her desperate need for love and constant companionship made people wonder what truly drove her actions. Number 2. Joan Crawford. Joan Crawford's personal life was just as dramatic as her films. She had a strong screen presence and a strong need for control in her real life. Joan's adopted daughter later wrote a book about her, accusing her of being abusive and manipulative. That book painted a dark picture of the Hollywood star. Joan had romantic ties with many of the top leading men, including Clark Gable and Spencer Tracy. She was married 5 times and had many other lovers. People said she used her sex appeal to keep her place in Hollywood. Her desire for power extended into her relationships, where she often took charge. Joan needed love and attention to feel secure. Some believed she used her romantic life to stay relevant in the public eye. Her beauty, ambition, and hunger for control made her a Hollywood icon, even if it came at a heavy emotional cost. Number 1. Lupe Velez. Lupe Velez, also known as the Mexican Spitfire, was a fiery woman both on and off screen. Her wild energy grabbed everyone's attention, but her love life caused even more buzz than her movies. Lupe had romantic ties with stars like Gary Cooper and Clark Gable. Her marriage to Olympic swimmer Johnny Weissmuller was filled with arguments. One story claimed she once shot a gun at Cooper during a fight. Lupe didn't hold back when it came to love or anger. She had a deep need for affection, which some believed became an obsession. There were whispers about her having a sex addiction. Her passionate nature, mixed with fame, created many problems. After a painful breakup and an unwanted pregnancy, Lupe died by suicide in 1944. Her tragic end shocked Hollywood. Behind her fame and fire was a woman destroyed by her emotions and the pressures of her public life.